dia novamente, estamos de regresso neste 34º Congresso da APDC
e
este é daqueles momentos que este Congresso já tem a tradição de trazer e de ser dos momentos altos. Ou seja, vamos discutir o Estado da Nação dos média. Vamos ter aqui os responsáveis, aqueles que lideram os grupos de comunicação social em Portugal, numa altura em que são muitos os desafios e também as dificuldades deste pilar essencial, digo eu, dizem muitos, para manter a democracia não só em Portugal, como no mundo. É também uma oportunidade única para ver como é que este negócio está. Vamos tentar perceber também para onde é que ele vai, apesar destas dificuldades. E o diagnóstico está feito. Já vou falar com esses responsáveis para perceber o que cada um sente em relação a isso. Mas olhando para os estudos, há um declínio das audiências em geral, as receitas online que são difíceis para estes meios de comunicação social conseguirem capitalizar as redes sociais e, sobretudo, esse grande perigo que é a desinformação. Tudo isso vamos tentar falar e também como é que se integra a inteligência artificial em tudo isto e se pode ajudar o negócio da comunicação social, tendo em conta sempre que a isenção de uma informação, por exemplo, é essencial para a democracia. Já vamos falar disso tudo para já o keynote speaker para dar o tema de arranque deste segmento. Telmo Gonçalves, da entidade reguladora para a comunicação social.
Telmo Gonçalves, who is the member of the board, Portuguese Media Regulatory Authority. You have the floor.
Muito bom dia.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the member of the ERCA to thank the invitation by Rogério Carufo and the president of this Congress, Manuel Motta, to represent the regulatory authority. Also greet the members of the panel that will debate my speech and hope that this debate will be very lively. Let me portray the state of the nation of the media, which is the portrait that tries to underline what are the aspects, more relevant dynamics that we're experiencing at the moment and what are their implications for regulation. I'll be introducing an economic moment that is in a technological Congress, to use an old technology, which is that of the voice technology. That is, I'll be reading my speech. I hope I won't be too boring with my reading this speech. The state of the nation of media, the characterization of any state, regardless of our field, either economic, political, media, evokes the idea, spirit of uncertainty. Uncertainty undeniably is the word that characterizes these controversial and demanding times, marked by wars, adverse climate events, several challenges for our democratic regimes. Regardless of the uncertain path, the media develops vital functions in terms of the balance of the complex societies we live in. Regardless, again, of the path, uncertain paths, we need to recognize, in terms of the media, social functions which are essential for our survival. Now, what are these functions? Let me recall them. I'm going to use the functional sociology, the cognitive performance in terms of information transmission, knowledge production, which are essential for societies, organizations, and citizens' life, formative cultural performance, cultural entertainment, integration, role, social cohesion, being indispensable to create a sense of community, sharing concerns and common interests. And this is the performance increased with social function that justify the existence of these media organizations on our collective life, and that we can't live without. More than media companies, more media outlets, more than producing content, disseminating a large-scale media are a social institution which is essential to preserving society. Now, very few social institutions have been affected by the turmoil of this technological civilization that we live in. Are there different perspectives to the major changes on the social media outlets? In my presentation, let me mention three dimensions that, in my understanding of erosion as being deeper and long-lasting, a system, and these dynamics become more acute, demanding a more rapid transformation by the media organizations. These erosive dynamics are well known by all. I'm not here to mention that we invented the wheel. The more significant one, erosion of the social media as main information source and entertainment. Internet, the development of technological instruments have shown an explosion that shook the centrality that the social media had been assumed since the second half of the 19th century Industrial Revolution. Communication on the social media, sharing videos, streaming offers affirmation in public space of new individual actors with the ability to reach massified publics. So that is the so-called influencers, YouTubers, TikTokers. That is a model of relationship with its audience has been challenged and has been compelled to transform itself. Almost all reports on media consumption mention the progressive loss of relevance of the traditional social media with their public. This movement is not the same in all countries, not all, and also not for all, for some media outlets. The Reuters Institute Digital News report about a week ago, we saw that TV is maintained as the main source of news in Portugal, being seen by 67% of the Portuguese, and as main access half of the population. Internet also used by 67%, the same percentage of the Portuguese watching TV. But only 19% identify the internet as their main, as the main access to news. We're speaking about news consumption, but there's also a challenging scenario in terms of other media consumption that I'm not going to elaborate, especially TV content via different streaming as one of them, by other sources of information accessible via digital. Second of all, the erosion of the traditional business model based on advertising. This transformation with the digital platform as main agents to attract, disseminate advertisement with algorithm potentials reaching consumers. Advertisement is it still the main revenue? Yes, in terms of global forecast, the data points to a market increase of 59% for this year. It was 6.8. However, this should be aimed at algorithmic advertisement. do we want to, in terms of magnitude, 2024, digital communication absorbed a percentage of investment in 2025. It should represent 62.7% of the global market. And 2 years from now, this percentage can reach almost 80% of the total investment in advertisement. To sum up, the advertisement market will continue on expanding, but these forecasts shows the pressures that it represents for the media companies transferring advertisement to digital. What's more impressive is the speed that this movement has been seen, leaving not much time for traditional media outlets to react, to consolidate the business model based on revenue sources and the demand for future alternatives. Third dynamic, in terms of the corollary before, erosion in terms of the professional values that distinguish professions from the media, that is, journalism, precariousness of labor conditions, the explosion of communication channels, that is, pressure to conquer more audience, making more profitable content, brought different actors and put more pressure, and especially in journalism, as was written by Pierre Bourdieu, well-known sociologist. They were identified during their journalism period, rigor and the ability to analyze, to contextualize, were replaced by another order of value. An ideological market to attract audiences, to generate views and clicks, or simply to be skillful, to be able to manage the vertigo of what is life, which now became relevant. Concerning deterioration of the social productive conditions have been undermining the interest of this profession, while obvious in the national survey conducted in 2022 on journalism in Portugal. Some data, half of the journalists that were asked have shown high levels of burnout. 2 out of 5 journalists recognize having mental issues, and it's because of their journalistic work. And there's been a reduction of being attracted to that professional. Precariousness is very concerning for the quality of information and also for the sustainability of the media, and should not be ignored. In the loss of centrality, business model which is being built, identity crisis, especially by journalism. These are the 3 erosive dynamics which seem to be more decisive, with which all media agents, first of all, those that make decisions, will have to know how to lead with a new sustainability which is emerging. Relating to these 3 dynamics, we have 2 undeniable issues, which aren't really new, but impose rules in a very relevant way. Disinformation, exponential increase of disinformation, cross-cutting effects in our society. All studies show an increase in disinformation via digital platforms, especially associated to elections. Portugal is not an exception, and referring to Spain as well, where disinformation has increased quite a lot in the last elections. At a global level, more than half of these respondents mentioned their ability to distinguish true from false content. In Portugal, the concern is even greater. 71% say they're concerned with disinformation, more concern between those that have less schooling. Fighting this information has to be it needs to involve different bodies, but need to count on other social institutions. And one of these social institutions is largely the action of the traditional media, the action to protect the right to citizens' information and to guarantee certain measures. And a topic which will be discussed during today's AI is creating cross-cutting impacts in our society, and the reach is unpredictable.
And we have to adapt to this new reality, not only by making the most out of their potentialities, but also by preventing negative consequences. Artificial intelligence, as we know, may make the production of news more economic, but it can also make it less rigorous. Regarding its potentials in the field of media, we still have to consider the impact it should have with the replacing of human production. To what extent the production of news and other content can do without the human factor, this is something we still have to discover, but will discover at a high speed. In this complex world we live in, what is the role of media regulations and the regulator? Well, regulation is living through changing times in Europe. A lot of regulations are there to make the system more democratic, fair, and sustainable. At least these are the big goals. After talking about the donation of internet from the most platforms, important political traumas has led the European Union to bring about a new regulation framework for this new digital platform, regulation of digital services, transparency and political propaganda, regulation on artificial intelligence. All of them are at different stages of their implementation. ERC is the competent authority in implementing these regulations, and this causes, this is a vertigo of regulation production. But what should be the role of regulators in Portugal, especially in such a hard times? If we resort to Roman mythology, for instance, if we see God Janus with his two heads, one looking back and the other at the future, the beginning of the end, the god of transitions. So the media regulator should, to a certain extent, be a Janus, looking simultaneously at the past and at the present, simultaneously being progressive and conservative when it comes to the process of media systems. He should also vote on the protection of laws to define the role played by the media and open by integrating new dynamics to help companies and citizens to have more efficient answers. Allow me to say, on the other hand, that this has been the new mission of the current Donator Association, and they decide fearlessly in view of the particular effects of their decisions in protecting citizens. 1 year after the beginning of its mandate, a new strategy was drawn for the new 5-year plan. I have no time to talk to you about the breakdown of this, but when it comes to the support of sustainability of the sector, as led ERC to develop a study on support and incentives of the state to the media, and they have submitted it to Parliament and to the government. The intention of the regulator committee was to submit an analysis to support the political makers in drafting a public policy in the field, and what we saw happening with the presentation of the action plan for the media last November. Of course, our concern has to do with the whole of the entrepreneurial mesh, which is part of this media, most of them being SMEs. At the end of 2024, 600 periodical magazines, 25 TV operators, magazines, and so on. This allows us to see the diversity of entrepreneurial realities, especially when we talk about the media system in Portugal. These figures can give you an idea of the situation in Portugal. And this shows how dynamic the radio sector remains. But in terms of the press, from 2008 to 2024, the number of periodic publications has decreased to half. It has now the current 676 publications, less than half are regional publications. But if you consider its geographic position, we have 83 municipalities with no magazine whatsoever. This is indeed a cause for concern. And in conclusion, allow me to recover an image that I always refer to. This is the North American and Israeli sociologist. He was interviewed, and when asked about how was he interpreting and to the changing brought about by the new media, Ilioket's response, well, contrary to authors who claim that we live in a democracy with no citizens, and what I see through the internet and the new media is that these create citizens without democracy. And this was at the beginnings of the year 2000, far from seeing the distortions that most media platforms could bring about. So what is the role of traditional media in this chaos we are living? And has been considering is that this system is essential for public dialogue to follow the values and the rules that make our societies democratic systems. So we should contribute to free, open, plural political communities. And this is where public legitimacy comes into play. And it also refers to the media agents, to the leaders, public powers, the media regulators, and all of them who are in favor of the freedoms and who see that there is no well-being prospects that we can ambition when we live in a democracy with rules for citizens.
Está feito então o diagnóstico.
The interpreters would like to say that the keynote speaker did not hand in his speech, so the keynote speaker has left us with a relevant message. We have three media groups with us. Nicolas Santos, president of the RTP board, Francisco Pedro Balsemão, CEO from Empresa. Pedro Moraes Leitão that I hope you can hear us. So he'll be speaking remotely, so you can hear us, right? Yes. Fine. So let's take a look at the diagnosis, and I'd like to ask those that lead with it, so please give us a diagnosis of the state of the nation. How much time do I have? Not much. I just want you to give us a general analysis, identifying what's the business like and what are the main issues. There's always a glass which is half full, empty. Depends what we're speaking about. Media, that is, those working in the sector. Are we speaking about audio, broadcasting, digital? It's a bit vague, and also not mentioning other aspects. And maybe we can speak more about a bit more about broadcasting. We're one of the 4 broadcasters. Is it a different phenomenon than what's happening abroad? Despite the difficulties, it's still very vigorous that we don't see in other countries on this. And due to our merit, comparing it to other countries, with the quality of the content produced, even if the Portuguese public is very demanding, it's true that in terms of quality, it's higher, it's much more, it's better, less repetitions, and we pay more attention to our viewers and how content distribution is also done when comparing to other countries. If we compare to Spain, Italy, and so on. So people have a tendency to access content via TV, and also a demographic aspect. Portugal has an aging population. In terms of broadcasting, we need to mention our continent versus UK versus USA. Our brands are very strong. In Portugal, the brands that are representing SIC is very well known. 60%. This shows that people trust what we do. It's fine in Portugal, but in terms of notoriety, in terms of business, there's a trend. Those speaking with different players abroad, and in that case, comparing to the Spanish, Italian, French reality, and so on, and German as well. This dependency on advertisement, nobody really was able to free itself from that. Even if we speak about revenue diversification, the gentleman is speaking extremely fast. And in terms of what exists in SIC and our competitors, when we take a look at the annual 6-month results, yes, speed is very important. When we face, to be able to face a decrease mentioned by the Media Regulatory Authority, content, streaming and others, this replacement has revealed to be slower than what we'd like it to be. And I've been speaking at this Congress since 2016. These topics are not very different from years ago, but we do have new ones. Is the business getting worse or not? Taking into account to a generational evolution, that is, of where news is heard, is seen. You don't have 3 or 4 competitors, you have more, like the tablet. What changed has been this fragmentation in terms of 2016 demand level. As I've mentioned, that this Congress is a very important opportunity, because then it gives us an opportunity to reach the whole world. Is the business better or worse? We've tried to reinvent ourselves, broadcasters reinventing themselves constantly. constantly, and before it was the TV broadcasters. We have podcast streaming, digital and social media. This requires quite a lot of effort in people, technology, and our focus. And I'm going to mention on my side its profitability. We need to constantly, we need to be as more rational as possible, how we generate our operation efficiently, and it requires more and more. It requires imagination and to adjust our structures, costs to the output and the audiences. And this is one of the most challenging things and one of the most interesting ones in terms of the business. It's constant, but what's more important in terms of passing on the message, constant association of broadcasters' legacy, past dinosaurs, it's strong. We need to understand that we need to constantly innovative, and we're surrounded also by other competitors that are unfair, if we can say so. Let's try to see how this adjustment is made, how this is created once revenue aren't very big. Luís Santana, can you identify the main issue when you manage such a company like yours? What would you identify with the exam or problems? What are the main problems?
Well, main problems have to do with revenues. Because for quite some time we assume that loss is effective. And actually...
Fala outra vez a ver se... Não, o seu microfone falhou. Portanto, agora vamos fazer o seguinte. Fica com esse, ou senão eu passava a outro colega até que...
Isto é castigo, não é?
É castigo, não...
So this is a punishment.
Mas não, faça favor, ia dizer algo...
Eu não consigo fazer a separação por
Well, I cannot separate by segments, especially with broadcasting and printing. What we should have is a global view of the media industry in Portugal. And actually, the biggest constraints we now have is the stability at the revenue levels, because we are very much exposed to paper, to the printing business, and so we see a considerable loss of revenues. So to make a newspaper just like you do in the other, is it still profitable? Yes, it is.
Nós temos uma prática dentro da
And at Media Livre, we don't have within our structures and brands products that do not have a positive margins. And this calls for a cost management that is considerable, and actually this is the only way of having our companies duly balanced and leveraged.
Player do privado, Pedro Moraes Leitão, é um pouco a mesma pergunta, ou seja, qual é o estado nesta altura do negócio que gera e qual é a dificuldade e qual é a ginástica que tem que fazer para conseguir equilibrar
aspects you have to do in order to bring balance to this means.
Eu acho que aqui temos que falar um pouco como falava o Dr. Telmo Gonçalves.
So I think we should refer with the two faces of the genres, the past and the present, because the present of the media is a sound and solid one, stable
temos a RTP
we have RTP well funded by the state and having the state showing a serious effort of keeping costs under control. We also have the other two groups, Empresa and Media
variação de quem está em cima e quem está em baixo, do ponto de vista da liderança das audiências na televisão. E nessa guerra estamos a oferecer melhor conteúdo e com isso é tentar e conseguir suster as audiências a níveis altos. E temos o grupo Média Livre, impulsionado pela sua estrutura acionista agora bastante mediática, com o CR7 no capital, também em crescimento e com apostas seguras, certas, em produtos novos, como a News Now, que tem vindo a ter os seus resultados. Portanto, se quiser, olhando para a fotografia destes 4 grupos representados neste painel, eu acho que temos aqui um presente, como dizia, sólido, estável e que dá garantias de que as pessoas colaboradoras destes vários grupos estão em boas mãos. Se quiser, é no futuro que está a grande dúvida e o futuro é ameaçado pelas muitas tendências que o Dr. Telmo Gonçalves já falou e, portanto, eu não vou aqui detalhar, mas que valia a pena falar em casos concretos em cada uma delas do que está a acontecer hoje e que hoje no presente e que causa preocupações relativamente ao futuro. Portanto, falava ele da inteligência artificial, está-se a normalizar a utilização de conteúdos produzidos por grupos de comunicação social pelas novas plataformas de inteligência artificial. A Google ameaçada pela OpenAI intelligence, Google, a publicação de resultados completos, portanto, como resultados do motor de busca estão a aparecer resultados completos e não só links com encaminhamentos para os sites.
To what extent does this condition the advertisement profit margins?
Aqui, portanto, a preocupação concreta com a inteligência artificial tem a ver mais com a publicidade no digital. Os grupos locais de comunicação social em Portugal, como noutros países, sempre tiveram dificuldade em concorrer nesse espaço, mas obviamente a partir do momento em que os seus conteúdos são utilizados livremente pelas plataformas de inteligência artificial, sem sequer dar hipótese de recuperar parte do investimento que foi feito na produção do conteúdo através da publicidade no digital, obviamente o nosso futuro está ameaçado. E aqui a preocupação é que esta guerra parece estar-se a travar a nível global entre as várias plataformas de inteligência artificial, com desrespeito total pelos direitos de autor no digital e obviamente que isso nos cria uma preocupação grande relativamente ao futuro. Enfim, acho que esta é uma guerra que afeta não Portugal em concreto, e os grupos portugueses em concreto, mas todo o mundo da comunicação social e obviamente estamos atentos ao que outros grupos estão a fazer para tentar seguir as suas pegadas. Especificamente aqui nesta questão da inteligência artificial, citava concretamente o caso da BBC. A BBC iniciou um processo aqui há 2 semanas atrás contra a OpenAI relativamente exatamente à utilização dos seus conteúdos de inteligência artificial e pelo que se moveu também contra a Google pela utilização dos seus conteúdos nos resultados dos motores de busca. E, portanto, isto é um princípio, mas sabemos pela experiência que já tivemos com os motores de busca, que é uma experiência difícil, é um caminho longo, e, portanto, aquilo que pedíamos era claramente quer a Comissão Europeia como o Governo em Portugal estivesse particularmente atento para que, no que respeita à inteligência artificial, não temos que seguir o mesmo caminho longo, demorado, o caminho das pedras que tivemos que seguir para finalmente construir uma lei que proteja a inteligência social da inteligência artificial mais à frente.
To artificial intelligence.
Não sei se já concluiu. Não?
Have you concluded?
Não, enfim, se quiser, eu tinha aqui mais 4 pontos, mas já vou.
Não, mas pode enunciá-los para depois olharmos em detalhe mais à frente.
Muito bem, portanto, acho que o ponto seguinte é que foi anunciado recentemente uma parceria entre a TF1 e a Netflix, o canal TF1, o principal canal privado francês, anunciou que estava a disponibilizar todos os seus canais lineares na plataforma de vídeo a pedido da Netflix. É ainda desconhecido o conteúdo exato desse acordo, mas é óbvio que isso é algo que muda radicalmente os dados do problema no que respeita às relações entre os canais lineares, os produtores de conteúdo televisivos.
Eu vou-lhe sugerir o seguinte, já vamos falar em detalhe, até porque eu quero explorar a questão do streaming e da inteligência artificial. Vamos só ouvir o Nicolau e depois fechar esta parte do diagnóstico e também saber o que cada um de vós está a fazer para adequar, reestruturar, etc.
Nicolau, a RTP So, Nicolau, RTP, the public Portuguese television, will certainly have a different line of thought. This Portuguese television also generates profit, and we have the idea that you have a good financial cushion, and so you don't face these problems. Well, I would like to greet Maria Manuel Mota and Carrapuço, who are the mentors of these initiatives. I would also like to greet Pedro Moraes Leitão, who today is celebrating his 6 years. I promise we won't sing you the tune but I would also like to greet the members of the panel. So, RTP, just like any other problems, does, like other media houses do have problems. So my colleague was saying that the main problems are the revenues. For instance, we see that our audiovisual tax being frozen since 2008. So our revenues are mostly frozen. And it also depends on the number of electrical meters we can install at each house. We have nearly 15 minutes for TV ads, and this is where we try to make more money. But on the other hand, our contents as a public service, they are free. And I know we will be talking about streaming, and we have, for instance, RTP Play, which is totally free. The issues that you've just mentioned are typical to all media in Portugal and abroad. But because you have a certain flow of revenues, how important it is. Well, you see, we have to make our own homework because we don't know what the future will be when it comes to the regulation of public media in Portugal. We should therefore streamline our organization, and this is what we are doing. And we are trying to find alternative revenues so we can have a higher level of sustainability, but we should capture more revenues. Well, over the last 50 years, RTP has had a positive result. The purpose, however, is to have a balanced company, but today we will have a negative impact because of the streamlining of our staff. A lot of changes are being made in its head offices in Lisbon and Porto, so our results will be negative this year, considerably so, and we expect that we will have a very quick return to positive results. So you have all made a positive diagnosis of these problems. You have referred to everything you have to do. And now, Francisco Pedro, I come back to you. You had negative results, and you want to what is the plan you have to revert the situation in terms of business, and also when compared to the adaptation, does it mean that you have to cut on your staff or to sell your buildings? Well, we will certainly make a turnaround. Our quarter was a negative one. I would not dwell on its expectation, but the last 3 years were indeed very positive, but on the other hand, we have a high level of debt when compared to our competitors.
Vem de há 20 anos atrás, desde
and this
2005. E essa dívida foi reduzida para metade.
2005, although it has been cut to its half, and we start a new 3-year period which has started with
mas teve aqui custo acrescido
blackout,
e no nosso caso, and
also inflation, the increase of interest rates, and most of our cash flow is at the service of the debt.
Leva a que tenha acontecido no final do ano passado.
This brings us to what has happened last year. Our impairments have an accounting reflection. It's already been declared and registered. And when we first realized that this was happening, apart from registering, recognizing the impairment,
foi de, obviamente, começar algum plano. Já fiz vários planos, já estou nestas funções. É mais mas é um plano muito importante. Exatamente, como disseste, que era para dar a volta. Portanto, para dar a volta, e isso foi exatamente o lema que nós usámos internamente. E passa por estas duas frentes. Ou seja, nós somos uma empresa privada, temos responsabilidades perante vários stakeholders diferentes e temos que agir nessas frentes diferentes todas. Gerir uma empresa, como já foi aqui falado, temos a parte das receitas que nós não controlamos, temos a parte dos custos
a side which is uncontrolled, and that is revenues, and on the other hand, we have costs. We have conducted a study to have an idea of how we would restructure the company. This entails general cost reduction, and also other normal procedures such as we have seen some persons being laid off. Would it
mais saídas. Nós estamos aqui muito com foco nesta parte de três grandes áreas. Tu estás a perguntar agora se vai uma seca sobre as doenças da empresa.
Também interessa.
Eu vou falar sobre as doenças da empresa o tempo que for preciso, não há problema.
Não, é só para dizer qual é o plano. E se o plano é de facto, talvez, há pouco dizias, já há vários planos. Este é o mais difícil. Até pela situação em que vivemos mundial.
Eu dizia há pouco, desde 2016, que as coisas de facto são as mesmas. Mas se calhar não disse, mas ficou aqui também subjacente, é que as coisas agravaram-se nesse sentido. Os temas são muito parecidos, mas em termos regulatórios nada foi feito.
From a regulation point of view, nothing has been done in the field of technology. For instance,
é uma operação financeira.
Our building has already been sold. This is a financial operation. We are not real estate managers. What we do well is the production and generation of content.
E como sou jornalista, tenho que perguntar, e há novo acionista em perspectiva?
Is there a new shareholder? I thought you were asking Nicolau from RTP.
Eu acho que não há mais nenhuma pessoa na casa que seja jornalista, pois não.
I don't think there's anyone else who's a journalist here listening to us.
A história do Grupo Empresa tem mais de 53 anos.
Over a 53-year history, we've had shareholders, and the period that we're going through right now is an exception in this period. But new shareholders, and we had Global, Swiss Ediper, the Spanish from Impala, also national groups such as Porta Editora, Group Mel. So we wouldn't mind having an entity shareholder from abroad with a win-win attitude. I'm going to skip because these two gentlemen are restructuring, and then I want to know what RTP has to say. Nicola, restructuring RTP, which was controversial. What was its objective? Why is it done that way? First of all, it's not a restructuring. Restructuring demands other conditions legal conditions. It's a new flow chart and an outlook. And to understand, well, there were 39 directorates, 30 directors, and to say that it was a heavy structure, and someone will ask, why didn't you do it earlier? Because in RTP, things can't be done quickly. It does not only depend it doesn't depend only on the board, but other entities which have to authorize it. This plan was presented to three previous governments, two governments, and it was with the previous government, finally, PSB, that was green light for these mutual consent dismissals. It should have been materialized till the end of 2024, and finally, it's finished today. The voluntary dismissal, they're not complete.
Desse ponto de vista foi interessante para a empresa e para as pessoas, porque temos mais de
48 we have more than 41 people, but we do not have the ability, the same ability of our private operator. We have to request authorization from the line ministry so that these 41 people be allocated to the plan, as well as to increase the amount, which is 2.4 million euros. So we need to reorganize our country, we need to streamline it, we need to change the way it works to bring closer different structures. Reorganization is not the word. So I'm not going to use reorganization, but if this new plan, reorganization requests requests from the government giving its authorization, could it have been done without dismissing, firing the information director? Well, this is very interesting because it goes through HR. What I can say is that, and this is going to come out in the newspapers and so on. This is going to be the headline of a newspaper. Companies have cycles, and there are cycles where you need to bring new ideas in, new energies, try to change things. And let me say that António José Teixeira and his team did a great job. They addressed many difficulties, like COVID. Managing a media outlet during COVID was very complicated. They were faced with different war coverages, like Ukraine, like with Israel. So it's important to go in a different direction. This coincided with different directors leaving, not only TV, but also from RTP2, radio. We have a director just for the radio. It wasn't just focused on TV information. We wanted to bring in new energy, new dynamic members. I hope I can count on José António Teixeira, continue to collaborate with him in RTP, and to say that António José Teixeira, that I've spoken to twice or three times, he went through different cycles. He was director of Diário Notícias, SIC Notícias. There's cycles, and now he's RTP1. And I'm sure he's going to face new challenges. It's not negative. It shouldn't be interpreted with politics. I've already written this. This decision was made by the RTP board members. It was consciously, this decision was constantly made. Luís Santana, in other words, two cases, and I don't even know what word I'm going to use, restructuring or plan. Evolution is the more correct word. In relation to your group, positive results, you have new shareholders. The question, why do you still have positive results when the market is that complicated? Was it decisive to have new shareholders, new money being injected so that you could move forward and obtain good results? 3 of the previous shareholders are still in Sorolha. 60% of our composes 60% of our shareholders. We've had positive results for a very long time. Cofina always presented positive results. We're organized, but we're also been organized since the onset. We have a team which is very much focused on earnings. We work with very well-defined objectives. It's rare to not to respect budgets. Not everyone does this. We believe that by creating new solutions, new products, as we did recently, we're giving good signs even after hardships. You spoke we have to be clear, there are difficulties because we are before asymmetries regarding competition. We can't compete in terms of revenue with international platforms, and now there are new threats with ChatGPT and Copilot, because everything is shaped that is will be maintained.
Não, é uma voz que veio do além, mas
it's a voice coming from upstairs. It's always with you. It's always with me. It's always, I think there's something. There's something here. I would know. So, good sign. But to say that these are signs that we believe in. We believe that media outlets have a future today. We're evolving with a new shareholding structure that believed in us in the project, a shareholder structure that lets govern, and these are good signs for the industry as well. So I believe that even if we have many hardships, media outlets have a future. The fact that a new shareholder came in and fresh capital in your company, helped it or not? Did it help or not to face in a more resilient way your difficulties? Is it important? Was it important? Was it decisive? It's always important to have new shareholders. Important shareholders, but Cristiano Ronaldo, who's our partner, he does not interfere in our operations in terms of capital. The capital and investment made are generated by the organization itself. We're using our own equity. And it's sustainable. It's a sustainable business. The history has shown that it's sustainable. But we can't stop. We need to add value, more value in the organization. New businesses. I spoke to to the members of the panel with difficult decisions which have to be made. With this scenario, are there difficult decisions that you've made? That is when you have to hire more people and you have to dismiss others. You had to dismiss some people. We don't do restructuring. We don't restructure. But there was a collective dismissal. And no collective dismissal. We always dismiss by negotiation. We negotiate. What's at stake are 10 people in an area which is not productive, and that is why we thought we needed to evolve. But this was not mentioned. We added to our head count 100 people. So this is a counter cycle. In relation to what the two members of the panel are facing, I know by doing so is a perspective that their operation is going to improve and that those who stay on will stay on, and this is going to be very good for the media outlets.
Pedro Moraes Leitão, é a mesma pergunta? Ou
Pedro Moraes Leitão, I'm going to ask you the same question. Is the fact that new shareholders have allowed to carry it out a new project, obtain good earnings, and especially not negative ones, if we may say so?
Bom, os acionistas que a Média Capital tem atualmente são
the shareholders we now have are the same as in 2020. So, and their entry then has required decisions. Some of them have changed the nature of the company. We know that TV124 is something like CNN or Portugal by decision and initiative of the current shareholder structure. But under my responsibility as a director of Media Capital, I think that both inside and for the outside of the company, we are the owners of the only asset that has failed twice. As you know, we started an insolvency system
na prática, quando esteve agora sob a administração do grupo Prisa, passou por um processo de insolvência que estava a passar em Espanha, mas
of Prisa as a result of the Spanish management.
O facto de termos passado por isso,
so the fact that we have lived through this situation,
a única empresa que passou por isso, cria uma grande consciência por parte dos gestores, dos administradores, dos diretores, que quão mau é passar por estes processos e quanto é preciso estarmos permanentemente a reestruturar, a pensar em reestruturações, a iniciar reestruturações para garantir que isso não se passa mais uma vez.
Volto a perguntar também se é um negócio sustentável nesta altura ou perante o que estamos a ver e as dificuldades que estão a crescer, se são cada vez maiores dificuldades financeiras, os acionistas
because we know that shareholders come in, they leave their capital and of course they want return. Yes, as I said, we are paying dividends on a regular basis and we've been able to make our increases since the year 2020. We pay, we make salary increases and we also pay to the dividends, and we believe that with our level of audience we are satisfying the public at general, so our viewers, and we are also contributing for the society both when it comes to the creation of a better society, and I believe that all of these aspects are being brought together now. And we should do it before within a 5-year horizon. I was also the responsible of the digital business by Media Capital when the first surge of digitalization came in, and this was the internet bubble. And what I am witnessing now is some similarities to what has happened then. But today the world has become far more global, and these new technological companies tend to have a swifter impact. So what I would like to ask the government and all of the society agents is that we should pay close attention in order to answer quicker. And so we have to act swiftly in order to avoid this long-term trend to affect definitely the current structure of the media in Portugal. Very well, let us look now to streaming. Francisco Pedro, tell me, is streaming the biggest threat in one hand, and on the other hand, the best way to differentiate revenues? How are we to fight against this dishonest world platform that is competing with you? Is it through cooperation as we do with TFI, or in the case of the podcasts that are on the top of the ratings? So podcasts and streaming can be a future, but could it also be the case of competition? Well, I don't think I would compare with other players. We're talking about the big tech.
Nós vemos no Grupo Empresa,
at the Empresa Group, we consider streaming, for instance, Netflix, Amazon, and Disney, to be much more similar to ourselves, and so we act more at a partnership line of thought, and we have changed, but we know that our contents are less of a ownership ones. We all send our content, and the attitude is more of sharing and cooperation than in 2020. So we see ourselves far more reflected in Netflix and others because they produce long-form quality content. They are also producing audiovisuals when compared, for instance, with YouTube and Spotify, because these are platforms that invest little, if not nothing, in terms of their content. But when compared to our third parties, we are aware of the problems it brings about because they own platforms and at the same time they compete with us when it comes to advertisement. And as you all know, they have been very well succeeded. Now, in terms of Netflix, they are starting to operate at the advertisement level, and this is yet another competitor. This can be seen as an opportunity because the publishers looking at this long-form content may deviate their investment to this quality content rather than cited in others such as influencers and YouTubers whose quality is a totally different one. And I think that the brand safe and this advertising far more connected to context and not only to the results. So in my opinion, they are managed by these great platforms, and it is important that we realize that it's important to talk to people in the business. But on the other hand, you cannot compete with other streaming platforms. Well, it depends on the agreement, because production and content selling is a way of capturing resources. Is it through their initiative, or is it due to the fact that legislation shows that there is a need for national production? Should we have other types of content production? Well, of course, it helps the fact that in Europe you have a legislation that imposes a national quota from the streamers producers, and also because of our quality, because these contents are produced in such a way that they could afford them in a certain manner. I also see a negative side, which is brought by cost. We have two operational partnerships, one in the field of audiovisuals and other in publishing, and I cannot disclose this information, but we should see that everyone can benefit from this. We should not consider that we should compete with them. We can act in complementarity by being useful to one another. This is very important to think how would we be over the next few years. Coming to the new podcast, You used to be leaders of podcasts. How relevant they are when we considered that they would that this business tended to die. Well, podcasts are a profitable business. They lack the dimension of other businesses. But what's most important at the streaming and podcasts level, apart from the importance of being where the persons are, the purpose is also to be closer to the youngsters. And so the demographics on TV and the fact we know that this is generalist TV, but other studies say that the youngsters are present in other platforms. All of our internal metrics say that this is the right policy. It might be the future. Podcasts are an added value. Most of us here will certainly learning to listening to podcasts, and in a society where we are all constantly running from one place to the other, podcasts end up being very useful. We are leaders in podcasts since January this year, and we will continue to invest. So I leave the producers with a challenge, whereby it is important to ask them not only to listen but also to invest on this means. It reaches a higher number of public, and it also reaches segments of lower ages and the female segment. Luís Santana, how are we to fight against streaming?
If you really want to fight streaming, we haven't focused much on streaming, although we consider it that it being a threat, and threats are threats, regardless of some being gigantic or being born. This streaming process is going to evolve as it's going to develop as the platforms did. It's just gaining critical mass, subscriptions. The advantage is that subscription is paid. They've been increasing the price. Why isn't it an important option for your group? It's not important because we're an information group. We're not dedicated to entertainment, and I believe that streaming has more to do with entertainment. Solutions, consumer solutions. Since we're an information world, we think that our content is not sufficiently attractive for streaming. And besides that fact, the Portuguese universe is quite small, and any streaming platform to be successful requires critical mass, both in terms of subscription and the second pillar of sustainability, which is that of advertisement revenue. So it hasn't been a business opportunity for our group. Streaming. Nicola, streaming and digital. Is it different in what's competition like? And collaboration with the important platform. Before answering on streaming, on October the 4th, 2025, the Private Media Association organized a conference where the Prime Minister attended on the 24th. Not the 25th. The Prime Minister attended, and the Minister for Internal Affairs, Pedro Duarte, a package with an action plan, different measures, important ones, and everything became contaminated, and then there was a cut, which was mentioned, advertisement cut for RTV. There was a legislative aspect which is very important. It's the law of regional press, law on radio, TV, and audiovisual services, and the law of media transparency and decrees on registrations and elaboration of the media outlet code. We need to update our legislation for the sector. This is important for both private and public operators. It's essential for it to happen. To date, no legislation was updated. There's no knowledge that there are laws in that sense, but it would be essential to help the sector to be better reorganized. After having said this, now about streaming, our streaming is different, and I think that as national content producers, we don't have the ability to enter the international market. There are two APDC conferences, and I propose that at these conferences there would be synergies between among the three operators to do something in that area. It's very difficult because our content has to be made available free of charge. After having said this, Imprensa has been using other options. The group Imprensa, we're going to make quite a lot of effort in our RTP Plate, the oldest streaming of our national operators. So in September, October, we'll launch a pack of 200 contents, films, series, TV series, 20 of which will be free, to strengthen RTP Plate's streaming attractiveness. So are you cooperating with other platforms like TF did? We've collaborated. There have been co-productions with international platforms, technological, multinational, and national ones, and it's obvious for everyone that we're not able to stop them. You can't stop the wind. You can't stop, and it's difficult to produce content with an international penetrating, bringing in revenue. Our association with these international partners, its prestige, notoriety, but in terms of income regarding RTP, they're very small, but it's a track to follow. There seems to be no alternative. Or you have relevant operators like BBC that are obtaining results, and then we can, in a certain way, adhere to these positions, or we're going to continue on fighting, developing what we have, and to gain some critical mass, and in some countries, in some areas where the Portuguese language is spoken, and where you can obtain some profits. Although let me say that I'm not very optimistic in that sense, because the Portuguese market is our market. I don't think we'll be able to obtain more revenue. Streaming, partners, revenues, streaming, we're in our audiovisual unit production, we establish public partnerships. Amazon has a streaming approach. Its approach is more different than that of It's different than that of Netflix. Video pay-per-view is different, as you know. Prime Video is the marketing is a marketing attraction. So this is a very different strategy than the one Netflix follows, and largely they seem to be the two main competitors at a world level in terms of subscribers, but for revenue, Amazon is very different, but it's very competitive. In terms of subscriber, Prime Video last year made more investment in more investment than the media group. That is, they were just complying with the quota in content investment, and is showing these numbers. This partnership is complicated, difficulty. Every negotiation, we have to think of the long-term effect. This is clearly something that is which shows quite a lot of work. So in parallel, has shown good results. In parallel, via TVE, which is the fourth channel, we have a video on request. In terms of international platform, we've had 17,000 subscriptions which have been paid, and in terms of video per view in Portugal is quite relevant. That is, in terms of TV player, we have subscriptions at an international level, an advertisement at a national level, and in plural, we have a partnership with Prime Video. So, combining these three shows that we want to react, what will be the trends in the future, we want to learn. Video on demand is more reality, but it concerns us on what will be the future like, and we want to anticipate what will be the vision.
Estamos a 5 minutos, vou distribuir o tempo.
So we still have 5 minutes before our lunch break. And we should now consider what will this business be like. So here in Portugal, the business is suffering, but is it not a business of the future? We have to communicate more and more. We have to be funny, because this is what you say, you sell information, you add democracy while providing entertainment. Can you do all of this while providing money at the same time? Well, I do think this is the fact for our own sake. Well, there is no obligation for the media to survive, but when we talk about Portugal, for instance, if the media will become weak, especially the private ones, they should be managed by persons who, apart from being good managers, should be serious in order to understand that this is important not only for democracy but also for the society. So these two skills are important. To consider that apart from business, this is a mission, and we will end up attracting the best. And actually, this is what I feel, that our group, Impresa, has this competitive advantage, because we have always considered it not only from a deontological point of view, but also as a business. Because the fact of being a founder, for instance, Mr. Balsemão, is someone who truly believes in the freedom of information, and also this attracts the best, because they want to work with these tools and in order to carry out their profession in accordance with deontology. So there is also the issue of size, and this area ends up being managed by high professionals in several areas. And so if we continue to be able to retain the best talents, then this will be the future. Luís Santana, is this a business with future? Yes, this business has a future. It's a business of the future. And let me come back to the image of the glass, half empty or half full.
Telmo Gonçalves, nós
and
temos
according
a clara
to
consciência
Mr.
de
Telmo
todas as
Gonçalves, all of us are
muito bem
aware of the
identificado
difficulties.
o estado da nação,
He made a very good
fizeram.
identification
Por
of
outro
the
lado,
status of the
a
nation.
mídia,
And on the other
acho que é das
hand,
indústrias mais sexy,
media is
entradas
one of the
novas
sexiest business.
Interesses de várias geografias
Because you
entrar,
see
portanto, no
new
mercado da mídia. Portanto, eu acho que
shareholders coming in,
portanto,
new
o melhor,
players coming in,
cenário,
and so
que
this
nós
is
podemos ter
the
para
best
justificar, portanto,
scenario we
que a
may
mídia,
have to justify
tem futuro.
the
Ainda bem
fact
que tem
that
futuro,
the media
porque, de facto, tal como
has
foi
a
referido
future.
por várias
Because
vezes,
as we have referred several times, the
a
citizen
democracia tem muito a ver, portanto, com
and
essa
democracy
vitalidade que
has
a
to
mídia
do with the
deve ter.
vitality
Deixa-me aqui a atenção e não
that
posso deixar
media
de
should
focar,
offer. Also,
já que
let
estamos a falar,
me
portanto, em futuro da mídia,
draw the attention for the following, actually a highly relevant issue. And this has to do with the distribution of publications in Portugal. Mr. Telmo Gonçalves also said that there are a high number of municipalities do not have their own publications, and I fear that there will come a day when the Portuguese municipalities as a whole will not have their publications. So this is not in the measures that were proclaimed by the government. And indeed, this is where a compromise can come. Now, Nicolau, the public service of TV and radio, is it a mission, is something which is constantly under threat, or is it the future? Well, I do hope and desire, and I believe that all the private producers to have a very beautiful future. But let me add the following.
Todos nós sabemos de desinformação,
in types of disinformation, manipulation and post-truth, it is fundamental for the sake of to defend private sector. I think there is something which is important. For the 8th consecutive year, the opinion of the Portuguese on this, on RTP is considered as the most important channel. So this is how we may fight against this misinformation. So one, we want to have a strong private sector in the media. We know we have difficulties in terms of revenues. Something was mentioned by Mr. Santana. An action plan for the media was launched. It had excellent measures. So now the responsible persons have changed. We don't know what do they think about this, but we may realize that we left the ministry who was far away from the other ministers.
So,
what is your future? What's the future? Are we going towards a good business?
Eu trabalho todos os dias para que seja bom negócio e que cumpramos a nossa missão.
Work on a daily basis for it to be a good business model, and I work to ensure the future, and I wouldn't be providing a good service if I would not comment the statements by
Isso era o novo debate agora começávamos o novo debate.
Who claims to have the best professionals.
O desafio de provar no mercado que são realmente os melhores e os
And I would like to challenge you
Agradeço
to prove
aos
your
quatro a vossa
statements.
presença. É
So I thank
sempre
you
um prazer discutir com esta franqueza
This is a
aquilo que
pleasure
é um
to
dos pilares, como comecei por dizer
one
logo
of
no
the
início,
pillars
de qualquer país, de
of
qualquer
any
democracia, o Estado
country,
da
of
Nação
any
está de regresso
democracy.
para o ano.
The state of the
Agora,
nation will come
chegamos
back
ao fim da
next
primeira
year.
parte dos
So we have
trabalhos
reached the
e
first
vamos para o
part
almoço.
of our work.
Regressamos
We will leave
daqui a algum tempo. Bom apetite, bom almoço e até já.
O que interessa é a dimensão da vontade.